The only area it can happen is if government has a fund that they give. And we have seen that the rate of failure is also high for such things. So going through these things gradually, having a learning curve, I think is the more sustainable strategy.
And Mr. Ayilara has some observations about the education system and tips for those seeking employment.
Okay. First and foremost, I would say that we don't have the problem of unemployment. We have more underemployment, which is people that are well qualified, earning below what they are supposed to earn. But we really don't have the problem of unemployment, because, and I will say that from my own angle. Now, when we say unemployment, it means that, okay, there are no jobs, but there are jobs. Within my system, I have about 8 vacancies right now that I still cannot find the right people to fit into those positions. Now, what is the Nigerian institutions? What are they churning out every year? They are giving out knowledge, outdated information. Some of these lecturers still use the note they've been using since 1984 to still lecture and all this. So I mean, old knowledge in 21st century, which can really not work. So when these people come for interview, and I get to, before I used to say that okay, that there is a problem of unemployment, but there's really no problem of unemployment, because I've had many discussions with a whole lot of CEOs, and they will tell you that finding the right people is a different ballgame entirely, because you can have the same vacancy for a whole year, 1 year, without having the right person to fit in. So I will still say that there are jobs, there are really jobs, but a lot of people that schooled in diaspora, they are coming back to get jobs. So what I tell Nigerian graduates is that their competition is not local, but it's global, because they're actually competing with people that have access to good information abroad, coming back home to compete with them. They will wear the same NYSC uniform, they will go for the same interview. Now, if I'm doing interview, will I now I won't because of that. I will employ the person that I think, but at the same time, the Nigerian graduate is already at a disadvantage because of the level of information that is available to them from my institution. So, but at the same time, for people out there that are still looking to get one job or the other, that are still unemployed right now, yes, the only thing they need to do is understand first what is needed for the right skills that is needed for the workplace, because there are some skills that are outdated right now. Let's just imagine that back then when I was in school, I had colleagues who studied secretariat administration or something, and they still use typewriter to lecture them. Can you go into any organization now and see a typewriter? You won't see a typewriter. Now, do I now want to employ somebody that has been trained with a typewriter? No, you probably spoil my Apple keyboard. So, because of, these are the realities that we need to focus on. But at the same time, for those out there that are still not employed, I would say that they need to take the bull by the horn and then take ownership of their life. It's not anybody's fault that they are not employed. Yeah, number one, they need to forcefully raise that.
The Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, heads 10 ministers, the head of Civil Service of the Federation, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, representatives from Lagos and Kano state government, the National Assembly, and the private sector to make up the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. So far, the council prides itself as having improved Nigeria's ranking in the World Bank rating on ease of doing business to a slightly better position of 169 among 190 economies in 2006, with 44.63 points from 170 at 44.02 points in 2015. However, the reality of these figures in the operations of the business community is not so bright.
In fairness, the government has been doing a lot in the area of the ease of doing business. The Vice President is the chairman of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. Dr. Jumoke Oduwole is the head of the Secretariat, and I must acknowledge they have been doing quite a lot. But the impact is still not so significant because the magnitude of the problem is a lot. And the factors that you need to deal with are also very diverse. And some of them are heavily embedded in the system. There are factors that have to do with dealing with the bureaucracy, for instance, to change their mindset, to change their attitude. It's a very big factor, and it's a very difficult challenge to deal with. Because we are talking about a bureaucratic system that has been entrenched for several decades. People have been used to doing things in a particular way for several decades. So to change the way they do things can be really a tall order.
Generally, I would say the body language of the government towards my line of business, which is basically agricultural export, has been quite positive. You've seen that at least the key government functionaries, like for instance the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Javad Rube, the Minister of Trade, the ED, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, all of these people have been, you'll see the passion in them, wanting to drive the sector. That's to drive business in the export area, particularly agricultural export. One should give it to them for their efforts. And we also know that government is trying to make doing business easy generally. But it's still a long way, Rome, as you know, Rome wasn't made in a day. So we are not expecting that it will just happen just like that. But we feel that the moves should be more radical. Their interventions should show urgency.